Hello, everyone. Dr. Vicky here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. We're going to be looking at the Astrology and Kabbalah of the month of March 2024. Look at the Kabbalah, the Tree of Life, the numbers, the associated tarot cards, and we'll look at the first, I think it's 10 days. I believe it's either 9 or 10 days of the month of March. So we ended, well, before I get started with that, I want to just make a quick announcement. Welcome to all my new subscribers. Thank you for joining the family here. It's a wonderful group of people, all in service to bringing the light out in the world, for all of us to shine our light. For those of you who have requested readings from me, thank you for your patience. I was not expecting such a giant wave of abundance to come my way with readings. Although Susan Lind did warn me, her guides did warn me that the tsunami was coming, and I'm very grateful, yet slightly overwhelmed by the amount of people. And you will all get your readings. You may not get them on the day that you requested, and it may be a couple of days since you put it in and you haven't heard from me. You will hear from me. It's just a matter of organizing myself, getting through it. I've been working diligently every day, both trying to get everybody's reading set up and simultaneously doing readings and simultaneously doing videos. So just to say thank you, and thank you, of course, to my faithful watchers, and it's been an incredible journey that I'm so grateful that I got to spend with you guys. So thank you very much. All right, so now on to the business at hand. Let's get started with this. All right, so we're going to be looking at the Astrology and Kabbalah of March 2024. We're going to look at the numbers and the Tree of Life first. And of course, here in my neck of the woods, the Northeast United States, March is what's known as mud season. It is the time when the snow melts and things get a little mucky. We haven't had too much snow where I am, which is good and bad, I guess. And but up north, they've had plenty of white stuff, and so yeah, we're in mud season. We are trying to, and there is some, to a certain extent, this sort of trudging energy that comes along with March. But also sort of the promise of spring. We can smell it in the air. We can feel that it's coming. We go outside every day and we look to see if the daffodils are up, or there's a crocus, or maybe there's a snowdrop somewhere. And so we're all happy to see the light begin to, well, first of all, the light gets to its balance point, right, when the sun moves into Aries in the month of March, and then the light starts to grow up here in the northern hemisphere. So let's take a look. Okay, maybe not. Okay, hold on. Press the right button, doctor. Are you kidding me? Oh, okay, here we go. Oh, see, sorry, I pressed the button, but my computer was a little slow. So numerologically, we are in an 8 vibration year, right? 2024 vibrates to an 8. 8 is the energy of the law of giving and receiving. It is a number of manifestation. It is the number associated with as you sow, so shall you reap. On the Tree of Life, this 8 energy is located on this path. And this is the path that connects the Sephiroth of Mars with the Sephiroth of Jupiter. And this is called Geburah, and this is called Hesed. There is a balance between Geburah, breaking down, cutting away the extraneous, and Jupiter, and Hesed, where Jupiter lies, which deals with expansion and generosity and manifestation. So there's an expansion and a cutting away. And so what we'll experience this year is both those things. Certain things will be cut out of our lives and other things will grow. Energetically, this is located in the throat chakra, And so we're going to hear plenty of people expressing themselves. The throat chakra is where we step aside as personalities or egos and allow the divine to speak through us. And really the only way that you can do that is if you are willing to step aside and let your light shine. Let the divine part of you be what everybody sees and everybody experiences. We are in a really interesting, we could call it, moment in time, a moment where karma is king. And as you sow, you will reap. And so if you share the light and send the light, you will reap the light. This is the Hebrew letter associated with this path. It's called Taith. I believe that's how you say it. For those of you who know Hebrew, excuse me, I do not speak it, and I usually mispronounce the letters, but I know what they mean. And this means snake. And the snake that they speak of is the Kundalini force, Now we're in the third month of the year, and so we look at the number 3. The 3 is the energy of the Empress. 3 is the energy of the creative principle, creative imagination with assertiveness and sensitivity. And March, the month of March, as it vibrates to a 3, the 3 sits right here on the tree of life, on the path that connects Chokmah, the divine masculine. The Sephiroth, Chokmah means wisdom. It is the Sephiroth associated with the planet Uranus. And Bina, the black one here, that is the divine feminine. It is associated with the planet Saturn. So that's an interesting activation because Uranus is about breaking things and blowing things apart, and Saturn is about structuring things. This energy, this is called Bina, by the way. I said that, but Bina means understanding. So it's wisdom and understanding. And we notice that both, if you were going to climb the tree of life like a ladder, you have this rung here, and this rung here, right? So these 2 rungs are both activated. And you can see that there's a balancing. It's almost like a pair of, what are those things? The things that I can't think of the name of them. Anyway, that thing, barbells, maybe. Yeah. So it's, in a way, like if you've ever done that, and I have, even though I couldn't remember what they were called, if you're like more handed on one side, you'll end up doing this, right? But it's about even raising. Okay. So we need to be very, very understanding of our strengths and where perhaps we need to get a little bit stronger in order to raise the bar, so to speak. I like that. I just made that up. Of course, the Empress card is associated with the planet Venus. This is the path of Venus. This is a path of creative imagination. So our creative imagination and our voice are very powerful this month. When we add these 2 and this is this Hebrew letter associated with this path and with the Empress card and with Venus, and this is Daleth. That's how you say it, Daleth, which means door, I believe. And then when we add these 2 vibrations together, we get a third vibration, which is an 11. Now, 11 is the Justice card. So we can expect to see some sort of balancing of the karmic scales this month, with the 11-2 vibration being the primary vibration of the month of March 2024. The 11-2 is the spiritual light messenger, talent, intuitive revelations, and fast vibrations like a bolt from the blue. So bolt from the blue, guys. Don't be surprised if a bolt comes out from the blue. This is the Hebrew letter. It is called Lamed. It means ox goad. Ox, like the animal, goad as in goading you along, right? This actually is just like an ox would be goaded with an ox goad. It's like a stick with a point at the end. We are being goaded along our evolutionary path. So sometimes it's a little bit painful. Somebody's poking us in the butt with something sharp, okay? All right. And this path is located right here between Geburah, the Sephiroth of Mars, and Tiphereth, which means beauty. And this is the Sephiroth of the sun. So Mars and the sun. Let's see here. What else do I want to say? That's it on that one. Okay. So universal year vibration. Actually, I've already said this, but we can go over it again. I didn't realize I had written it. I do these like ahead of time, so I don't always remember what's on the next thing. All right, universal year 8 on the tree of life. It occupies the path between Hesed production and Geburah destruction. Hesed, Geburah. It is called the 19th path, the intelligence of the secret of all spiritual activities. The unraveling of all mysteries entails moving through the dark shadows of the self. The dark shadows of the self is our lower self. Our lower self is in the shadows. The Kundalini force, which this is connected to, like the snake, right, Teeth, is found in the root chakra. And when we raise our energy, when we raise our Kundalini force, when we become spiritually awakened, it must go through the darkness of the lower self. The lower self is the part of us that is in manifestation. Those chakras that are created because we have to function in a dense physical environment. Our higher chakras are in a higher state, right? Even though they're along our body, we connect in the higher state with those. The essence of this path is the internal flame that rises like a serpent in the darkness, the coiled fiery power of attuning to process. Activating the throat chakra. Remember I said this is located energetically in the throat chakra, where divine will operates and where we find our voice. This is also connected to the metabolic processes of anabolism and anabolic and catabolic processes. Okay. And of course, if we look at this, we know that Jupiter is in Taurus, going to be in Taurus all month. Jupiter is in Taurus completely until May, when it moves at the end of the month, it moves into Gemini, where it stays for a year. So it's still in Taurus. And then Mars this month goes from Aquarius into Pisces. Okay. So those are the two: Mars in Aquarius, Mars in Pisces, Jupiter in Taurus. All right, and here's the strength card, because the strength card is connected with this path. Okay. The 3. This is the Empress card on the tree of life. This path right here, the 3, mediates between Bina, the eternal mother, and Chokmah, the eternal father. Its astrological attribution is Venus, the planet of love. It is the 14th path, the path of the luminous intelligence, the expression of the one life or the one light in form manifested on the physical plane. The Empress is pregnant. She's in the garden, surrounded by nature. She is the goddess of nature, nature's constant creative force. This is the Empress. The Empress is the gateway to form, guardian of the threshold to earth. This is the path of the creative imagination. So our creative imagination is always powerful, but especially powerful at this time because it's getting activated by the vibration of the month. And so what I say to this is what I say all the time. Imagine the world you want to see. Focus your intention, your third eye. This is your third eye chakra, by the way, on the vision that you want to see. Don't pay attention to what's being shown to you as this is our reality and this is the way it's going to be and this is going to happen. And that's all fear, guys. That's all fear. Okay. What's going to happen is going to happen. We're going to have to accept what happens. But let me tell you, if we focus our intention and utilize our co-creative powers are found in these chakras, in these paths, okay? Then we will create the world that we want to see. We will open our eyes and see the world we want to see. Don't walk around with your eyes closed because that can be dangerous. But you know what I mean. Okay. The Empress represents the power to manifest, the ability to contain the life force. We're in an 8-year, it's a manifesting year. We're in a year of the wood dragon. It's a manifesting year. What are we going to manifest? What we focus on. What we focus on. The symbol, it is the symbol of fertility, shelter, protection, and nourishment. Okay? Uranus is in Taurus. There for 7 years. Saturn is in Pisces. Saturn is in Pisces until it moves completely out of Pisces and into Aries in 2026. It goes in and out a little bit, but then it's in Aries in 2026. So Pisces is still going to be there for a bit longer. All right. And then when we add these two vibrations together, we get the 11-2 vibration, the master number 11. On the tree of life, this vibration mediates between Geburah, universal principle of destruction. That's this. This is the red Sephiroth associated with Mars. You see, she has a sword here. That's Mars. And Tiphereth, spiritual love and beauty manifested on the earth plane. One of the symbols for Tiphereth is the scales. And so Lady Justice has both the sword and the scales. I really love this Lady Justice card. This comes from the Lightseers Tarot because man's justice is blind, but cosmic justice has its eyes wide open. And this is cosmic justice. As you sow, so shall you reap. The 8 vibration of this path, as you sow, so shall you reap. The 22nd path, this is this path right here, is called the faithful intelligence. The faith that all in life tend towards balance and wholeness. The essence is bringing polarities into balance through adjustments, mental adjustments, emotional adjustments, and perhaps physical adjustments. Perhaps you need to go see your chiropractor. This is the path of karmic adjustments. Karma is the reflection of the work of the divine law of cause and effect. The sword of Geburah, the destructive principle, is necessary for spiritual enlightenment. Here we cut away the false values and past conditionings. Astrologically, this corresponds to the sign of Libra, and it is the path of justice, which is not blind. Okay, let's continue. All right, so that is the Kabbalah part. Now let's take a look at, we're here in week 1 Well, actually, week one is actually, there's 2 days and then there's 7 days, right? So week one is about 9 days long. And this is what we're going to cover in this video. What I will do is at the beginning of each week, I will do the next week ahead. All right. Okay. So week one, March 1st, which is today. Actually, I'm doing this today, which vibrates to a 12-3. That's the Hanged Man in the tarot. We have the sun making a waning. I'm so sorry. I talked about this morning. I'm like, is that what's happening? Yes. The sun makes a waning sextile to Jupiter. This brings optimism, good luck, and happiness. So you're feeling a little happier than you were a couple of days ago. On the 28th, we had a triple conjunction of the sun, Saturn, and Mercury. And with Saturn there, things get pretty heavy. But today is a new day, and it feels a little brighter, doesn't it? On Sunday, the 3rd of March, we have Venus making her last quarter square to Uranus. The 3rd of March vibrates to a 14-5. That is a number of spiritual initiation. It's a number of temperance, which warns us against going to extremes. However, Uranus can be very much an extreme energy. So while it is squaring Venus, it still requires a certain amount of balance and understanding that getting caught up in extremes can only be detrimental for you. Venus last quarter square to Uranus can challenge the stability of love relationships through unexpected urges or sudden events. Sudden attractions or changeability in affections and loyalties are possible. So if that happens to you, do not lose your balance. Ultimately, when things like that happen, they happen to free us from a situation that we otherwise might not walk out of or move away from. Okay. Monday the 4th is a 15-6 vibration. That is the Devil card. This is a little heavier energy. On that day, we have Mercury making a waning sextile to Uranus. These waning sextiles, when I talk about a waning sextile, we have to keep in mind that this has the overlay energy of Aquarius. So it's humanitarian, raising all boats, egalitarian, but it can also be rather tribal. Mercury waning sextile Uranus brings exciting news and stimulating conversations, all in the service of progressive thoughts and progressive change and the future. On Friday the 8th, Mercury makes a conjunction to Neptune at 28 degrees of Pisces. Neptune is at the last few degrees of Pisces. It will stay in Pisces all year. It goes all the way to 30 degrees of Pisces, the last degree of Pisces, before it goes retrograde and goes back. And so this is the last year, I believe, that Neptune is in Pisces for the entire year. And then it starts to shift into Aries. I believe that happens in 2025. When Mercury, the planet of the mind, conjoins Neptune, the planet associated with imagination, illusion, delusion, dissolution, we can get confused. But it is a fabulous day to be inspired, and it's a fabulous day to meditate, to create. Maybe not the best day to do your taxes, so keep that in mind. On that day, we have a 19-1 vibration. That's the sun vibration in the tarot. And so there is an illumination. The illumination will probably come from spirit. On Saturday the 9th, the sun makes a waning sextile to Uranus. We just had Mercury make that sextile. Now Uranus makes that sextile. That day is a 20/2. That is the judgment card, the spiritual, the awakened soul, right? When Gabriel toots his horn and we all realize that there's something beyond this physical existence, waking up to our own souls with this vibration. And of course, Uranus is an energy that wakes us up to new, different, out of the box, and beyond what is considered normal or practical or what's possible. There's always this sense of the impossible suddenly becoming possible when Uranus is around. This causes visions for the future. Progressive thinking mark this period of time. We also have on the 9th, which is, remember, we're still working with that 20/2 vibration, Mars make a square to Uranus. This gives us a strong urge to break free from a restriction and rebel against authority, a tendency to act rashly without regard for the consequences can lead to significant disruptions or conflict in your life. And so you can utilize this energy to break free from constraints, but you do have to know that if you're not careful with your Mars energy, now you can't really control the Uranus energy, but you can put somewhat of a governor, right? Like in the old days when you would drive the car and your parents would put the governor so it could only go so high. Perhaps a good governor is, is needed at this time to keep us from sort of, off the edge here. And on that day, we also have Mercury ingress into the sign of Aries. So ingress into the sign of Aries. Okay. Let's continue. Now we're going to go through each one of these separately. All right. Where's my little thing? Okay. All right, let's take a look at this. So here we're looking at the sun making its waning sextile to Jupiter. This is happening today on the 1st. As we can see here, it brings optimism, good luck, and happiness. It is associated with the Hanged Man card. Don't you love this card? I don't know what deck this is from. I forgot to note it, so apologies to whoever did this deck, but I just love this. It really brings in that Neptunian energy that is connected to this card, being in the flow, right? Being in the flow in the great cosmic sea. This synodic cycle began. Now, what's a synodic cycle? A synodic cycle is the cycle of time that it takes for two planets to go from a conjunction to another conjunction. Remember that all planets are sort of in an orbit and they go around a circle 360 degrees. And so a conjunction is 0, and then one of the planets always moving faster than the other, and eventually they come back together, right? So that's the synodic cycle. This synodic cycle is a year-long cycle with the sun and Jupiter. And so this synodic cycle began last year, 2023, on the 11th of April at 22 degrees of Aries. The Sabian symbol for that is the gate to the garden of all fulfilled desires. Optimism as a life path, abundance arising because of trust. Optimism, synergy, sharing, and abundance as a life principle. This was the seed that was planted when we had the conjunction of the sun and Jupiter. At that time, Jupiter was in Aries, okay? Now, Jupiter is in Taurus, right? Jupiter, shortly after that point, Jupiter moved into Taurus, and that was last year, and I think it was May, it moved in May, and then it's going to come around and move out of Taurus at the end of May of this year, but we're still in Taurus when this aspect happens. And we're at 12 degrees of Taurus, the Sabian symbol. Now, as I say this, as I go over the symbols, I want to point out that these waning sextiles have the overlay of Aquarius. This is about raising all boats. This is about humanitarianism, philanthropy, being your brother and sister's keeper. That's what this energy requires us to do. Or it required that, no, it's required. It's a requirement. It's the energy of the aspect. Whether we do it or not is always our choice, right? You could, this is an opportunity. Sextiles are opportunistic. So you can decide not to take the opportunity. You can say, nah, I'd rather not help anybody or make the world a better place. I'm just going to sit in front of my console or my gaming thing, and that's just the way I'm going to spend my time. or whatever else you want to do. It's up to you. It's always up to us. So that, taking that into consideration, Jupiter is at 12 degrees of Taurus, a porter carrying heavy baggage, improving our lot in life. Improving our lot in life. This is about being willing to work to make your life a better place. A porter doesn't get paid that well, but is willing to work, not so much a menial job, because every job has value, but a difficult job, lugging other people's stuff around. That's no fun, right? But they're willing to do that because this is a way for them to make the resources so they can have a better life, or perhaps give their children a better life. So that's the energy of this degree. And it's making the sextile to the sun in Pisces. In a sanctuary of an occult brotherhood, newly initiated members are being examined and their characters tested. We are brought to a focus and challenged. We are brought to a focus and challenged to produce our best results in order to measure and improve, deal with examinations and challenges effectively. And so this is asking us that, or intimating that the changes that need to happen to create the gate of the garden of all fulfilled desires is one that's going to take some heavy lifting, but we need to do it in the idea of being our best, the best and the brightest. We all have the best and the brightest within us. It's about expressing that to the world, helping us to move us forward, to create optimism as a life path. And you can see here, this is actually a chart for the US, because this was erected for Washington, D.C. We have a Pisces rising, we have Neptune on the ascendant, we have the sun in Pisces house, and we have Jupiter in the second house. This looks to me like giving aid to people who need aid, whether it be, and I think, and if I remember hearing correctly, I think that the child's tax credit may be reinstated or reinstalled, which would be very helpful to lifting children out of poverty in this country. And then hopefully this also includes giving aid to the people in Gaza, giving aid to the Ukrainians so they can, do what they need to do for themselves to protect themselves. All right. Okay, so March 3rd, we have Venus make its last quarter square to Uranus. This is a cycle that began on the 30th of March of 2023. This is another year cycle. And it started at 17 degrees of Taurus. At that time, Venus, of course, Uranus was in Taurus. It's been there since, 2018, I think. And so we would expect all of these Uranus conjunctions with other planets last year and this year to be in Taurus. 17 degrees of Taurus, a battle between swords and torches. Swords symbolize the mind, torches symbolize the spirit. In the battle between spirit and the mind, spirit takes precedence. Spirit always wins because spirit is the creative force that creates the mind. So you can't create spirit with the mind. You can only create the mind through spirit. And the day vibrates to that 14.5. This is the Temperance card for the Thoth deck. It's called Art. The Temperance is about alchemy. It's alchemy. Here she has water in one hand and fire in the other. These are the creative forces that create air, which rises, and earth, which falls. Okay, so these are the mother and father elements. The mother element being water, the father element being fire. This sextile is again a waning sextile. So this is about raising all boats. Okay, so now we have Venus. I'm not sextile. I'm sorry. This is a last quarter square. My phone distracted me. Last quarter square, crisis in consciousness. This is about becoming an authority in your own life, moving towards the future, moving in the direction of Aquarius and a more collective experience. Okay. In order to do that, in order to move into a collective, perhaps we need to know who we are and know that we are ultimately responsible for ourselves. And that's really what this last quarter square asks us, to be responsible for ourselves and our choices. So we have Venus last quarter square Uranus. Venus is at 20 degrees of Aquarius, a big white dove and a big white dove, a message bearer. Sometimes we get immediate recompense and sometimes it is delayed, but sooner or later, we always get what we have earned. Victory over the forces of entropy and destruction. That is what Venus is in. Venus is the planet of love, guys, over entropy and destruction. In a crisis of belief square with Uranus, which is at 20 degrees of Taurus, spiritual forces, energies, and beings from other realms expressing themselves through our willing participation, a willing participation with unseen spiritual forces. And so, if you want to know if spirit is on our side, spirit is on our side. Spirit is on our side. Spirit is here to help us. We are at a vital point in our evolution, and we need all the light that we can muster to move us in the direction of light. It's a choice. Do you want to be in the light or do you want to be in the dark? March 4th, we have Mercury make a sextile to Uranus. Mercury is at 20 degrees of Pisces, a table set for an evening meal, living with an attitude of gratitude. So Mercury is the planet of the mind in Pisces, which is very empathetic, an attitude of gratitude, imagining, right? Counting your blessings. It's a powerful, powerful thing to do. This is making a sextile opportunity for progressive change with Uranus. What's Uranus? What at 20 degrees of Taurus? Spiritual forces, energies and being from other realms expressing themselves through our willing participation. This particular synodic cycle began back on the 4th of June of last year. It was a 17.8 vibration, which is the star card. We can see it. I put the little star card down here. This is an Aquarius card. Aquarius, the ruling planet of Aquarius, is Uranus. So we can see there's theme here, right? There's breaking out of the old conditioned beliefs that it has to be this way, and opening to a new belief that it can be another way. And what way can it be? It can be what we imagine. With gratitude and help from higher forces, we have it made, guys, but you have to put your focus there. It's up to us to focus the energy because we're co-creating the world that we live in, okay? This cycle began on the 4th. Did I say that already? Yes. At 21 of Taurus, a finger pointing at an open book, careful discrimination of wisdom. A balance must be found between receiving guidance and self-determination of wisdom, balancing guidance with self-determination. So there's guidance that you would get from a book, perhaps. I think in the Sabian Symbols by Dane Rudger, he talks about an ancient text here. But this is we can do that, but we also have to go by our own experience, right? Our own experience. Now, and so this energy, right, brings exciting news and stimulating conversations. This is a great time to get together with people of like minds, The card associated with the vibration of the day is the devil. The devil is kind of a dark card. You might say, well, this is supposed to be bright and stimulating. Well, the devil is the devil, and the devil is a choice. The devil gives us a choice. Do we want to pay attention to spirit, of which we are part of, or do we want to chain ourselves to our lower nature and only care about the things of earth, right? Because if you don't grab the things of earth, somebody else is going to grab them. You have to get it all before somebody else gets it. Well, that's really a lie, because if we really want the abundance of the earth, we have it at our fingertips and our third eye and our throat and absolutely our heart. If this is leading the way, then the lower chakras align and we create heaven on earth instead of trying to separate ourselves. It's either or, either you're bad or you're good. No, we are all things. We are conduits of spirit that can create heaven on earth. March 8th, we have Mercury conjunct Neptune. This is where I said things could get a little fuzzy for us. At 28 degrees of Pisces, a fertile garden under a full moon. Enough is a feast. Success in mastering the earth plane is measured by our ability to win abundance without becoming a slave to greed. A slave to greed is the devil card. Fulfill your desire. This is the chart for the U.S. This conjunction for the U.S. is in the 11th house. That's actually that's the house of the Congress and the Senate, right? That's interesting. It is the group. It's group consciousness, right? It's the group. And we have the sun shining on that day. How very, very lovely. And this is probably the most difficult energy of the week, I think, because with Uranus, you can expect the unexpected, and Mars can be anger and 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 warlike behavior or shooting or just like hurting, but it doesn't have to be. Mars is in Aquarius. We can work towards the common good here. We can work towards the common good. That's the best way to use the Mars energy. Mars last quarter square Uranus is the 3/4 point of the synodic cycle. It is a point of crisis. Squares are always crisis producing. What type of crisis? A crisis in consciousness. The need to change your mind or perspective that creates a reorientation. So it's about reorienting our energy. This cycle began on August 1st of 2022. Now you're like, wait a minute, it's a synodic cycle. Why is it 22 and not 23? Maybe you didn't say that, but I'll tell you why. Because synodic cycles with Mars are 2-year cycles, okay? It makes the conjunction in the first year, the opposition generally in the second year, and then we have to wait for 2 years from the first conjunction to come back to a conjunction point. On August 1st of 2022, this conjunction, and that was a devil day, devil dog day, 15/6, that's the devil, 19 degrees of Taurus. Incidentally, that conjunction occurred on the north node of the moon in Taurus. So we didn't just have this conjunction at this degree with this symbol, but we had the north node there as well. And the north node is the direction of our evolution. It's saying this is the direction of the future. And the Sabian symbol for that was a newly formed continent, rises out of the sea, like Atlantis surfaces again, right? Went down, now it's coming up, right? Pure receptivity. When the mind is open, then spirit can enter. Pure receptivity that sponsors spiritual breakthrough. Haven't we all been having a spiritual breakthrough, folks? Now Mars is at 20 degrees of Aquarius. A big white dove, a message bearer, Sometimes we get immediate recompense and sometimes it is delayed, but sooner or later we always get what we have earned, victory over forces of entropy and destruction. This sounds familiar. Have I heard this before? In a square to spiritual forces, energies and beings from other realms expressing themselves through our willing participation, a willing participation with unseen spiritual forces. And the vibration of the day is the judgment card, deciding to wake up to what is and what we can do to make it better and to change it. On the 9th, we have the sun making a waning sextile to Uranus. This is the 300-degree point. This is the same, this happening on the same day as the square, right, to Mars. Opportunity for progressive change. So not only do we get this urge to break free from consensus and how it's always been told us that it is, but then we're given an opportunity to see something different with this sun waxing sextile to Uranus. Opportunity for progressive change. The Sun-Uranus synod shows us the illumination of out-of-the-box ideas, the awakening of ego to change and future possibilities. The synod began at the Sun-Uranus conjunction last year. It's a Sun-Uranus synod, so it's a year long, on the 9th of May, which incidentally vibrated to a 21-3. That is the world card. Endings and new beginnings. Endings and new beginnings. Okay, that was the initial seed for this. At 19 degrees of Taurus, a newly formed continent rising out of the sea. Same degree. Same degree. So this is the new world being born, guys. Let me tell you, this is the new world being born. What do you want to see? What kind of world do you want to live in? The sun now is at 20 degrees of Pisces. Affirmation of bounteous harvest. At the end of our endeavors, we are nourished by whatever we can harvest from our labors and experiences, living with an attitude of gratitude. I love this. Sextile, which is opportunistic, right? Sharing what we know. It's Aquarian in nature. 20 degrees of Taurus, willing participation with unseen spiritual forces. They are on our side, guys. Our guides are close by. And lastly, I believe this is the last thing to happen on this day. We have Mercury ingress into Aries. Aries, the first degree of Aries, right, is the degree when the sun goes in the first degree of Aries. We're in spring. It's a world point because it's a cardinal point. So there's always a shift and a change when anything goes over a world point. We'll see it out in the outer world. The Sabian symbol for 1 degree of Aries, a woman rises out of the water, a seal rises to embrace her, a recognition of potential, emergence out of the realm of potentiality into the realm of reality. What do you want your reality to look like? Becoming the essence seed of your soul's incarnation. What are you here to do, folks? I'll tell you. Shine your light, baby. Shine your light. And this is the chart for it. Okay, here, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is Hello, Mercury? There it is, right there. In the 5th house of creativity in the US chart. Interesting. Children, creativity. This might be the child credit that I talked about. Mars, and I always look at whenever something goes into a sign, ingresses, Mercury moving into Aries, I always look to see what Mars is doing because Mars will give us an inclination of how to approach this Aries energy. And it says 21, Mars, the ruler of Aries, said 21 of Aries, facing emotional pain with stoicism. Things go wrong, we get upset, but we must carry on. facing emotional upset and pain with grit and forbearance. So it's going to take some effort. It's going to take focus. It's going to take consistent persistent energy towards a goal and a vision. Visualize what you want to see, guys. Visualize what you want to see. Okay. So that is the story, Morning Glories. I hope you enjoyed that. Please, if you would, let's see, what do I want to say? Well, I do readings, and I say it after every video, and I'm happy to do a reading for you. I do hour and a half readings with a combination of astrology, Kabbalah, and numerology. They're very unique. People seem to really like them. And if you're going to shine your light and you kind of want to say, well, what does that mean? This would be the time. And I will give you the caveat that I'm probably at least a month or two filled up now. So we're looking at probably, let's see, it's March, April, May, probably May. So if you want a reading, you can always say, if you ask for it later, there's a better chance of you getting exactly what you want. If you want to get it sooner, you might have to be on a waiting list. But just go to the website, theseedsoftransformation.com. I am doing my best to make it easier to navigate. I'm working with my IT guy along with everything else. So if you have patience and forbearance with me, I appreciate it. If you'd like to support me in other ways, I do have a Patreon page. The link is below. And give me a thumbs up if you would like to. And I will see you again next week for the next week. And check out my taroscopes if you haven't already. They're already out. They came out about two weeks ago for March. And they're pretty interesting. All right. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Namaste.